we'll go ahead and start. Sandy.
Great, thank you, Herb. I'm sure you've all read our statement. As you know, I informed Jeff Tedford this morning that we would be seeking to hire a new head football coach to lead Cal football. This was a difficult decision made after considerable thought and analysis and reflection. Jeff Tedford is a good man who has brought great success and celebration to this university and who deserves to occupy a place of honor in the Cal family. His legacy is unquestioned. However, the current state of our program is not what our student athletes, fans, and campus community deserve. My decision was based, and my decisions will continue to be based on what I believe is right and best for our student athletes. They deserve to be surrounded by the very best conditions for success, and that is what I believe a change in leadership provides them at this time. I believe this is a great university with a very bright future in its football program. We have very talented and dedicated student athletes who, although disappointed, I know will embrace new leadership. I look forward to bringing them that. Thank you.
Questions?
Mike Schuh, ABC 7. Sandy, what was Jeff's reaction this morning when you talked to him?
Let me first say that Jeff has been a complete class act through every bit of this. Certainly, it's disappointing. He wanted to continue to lead Cal football and made that very clear every minute, every step of the way. But he understands this is part of what you take on when you get into college coaching, and you get into any kind of coaching. And he approached it very professionally and has, throughout the course of the day, worked to make this a transition for his student athletes, for our student athletes, as seamless as possible.
And I know professionally it was a tough call for you, and personally I know you were really close to Jeff. So how was it for you personally?
It's never easy. I had to, I mean, throughout the course of this season, I mean, it's been a difficult season for Jeff and for our community and for me and a lot of you standing in that balcony and sitting in this room, and I think we probably have a couple student athletes here, obviously difficult for them. But it's just like it's Jeff's job to do what he needed to do from a football perspective. It's mine to be as objective as you possibly can be and do what's right for Cal.
John?
John Crampacker, Chronicle. Sandy, what kind of qualities would you look for in the next coach?
You know, this is an incredible university that is very demanding, and I think it takes a very unique set of characteristics, a combination set of characteristics, and you know, it starts with integrity. I think it's certainly we're looking for a builder, a team builder, a staff builder, a character builder, someone who's innovative, someone who understands the importance of academics and the academic fit, and can navigate through that, can recruit the right kind of student athletes to Berkeley, a strong vision and identity for the program. And you notice I haven't said anything about football yet. Obviously, that's part of it. It's not at the top of the list, but the list is, we have to have it all. And certainly, there needs to be a level, a very high level of football expertise. But all those other things are so important to being successful here. Ask any of our coaches. It takes a combination of those skills and abilities.
Mindy Bach from Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. In your statement, you had mentioned 48% graduation rate at Cal, the lowest in the conference. In this decision, where does that weigh in as opposed to the overall football record? How did you balance the two?
It's a combination of all of that, and I would certainly say that that those indicators over the course of some time of decline, both the competitive success on the field and academics were part of it, or part of the total picture, and that's part of where we are. And in the end, they both played into a decision for new leadership. But believe me, I've spent a lot of time thinking about and analyzing things that I could have done differently, and that this university could have done differently. And I accept my share of responsibility for where we are. And certainly will apply that analysis as we go forward.
John?
Don't tell me I forgot what I was going to say. Yes,
We can come back to you.
no, I got it. Pull it out. Last time, when Jeff was hired, there was a search committee composed of people on campus, and I look at your release, and you've hired a firm. What does this firm do, and why not another search committee on campus?
We have hired an executive search firm to assist us as our consultants in this search. That is pretty commonplace, pretty standard best practice these days to assist us in navigating all of the parts of the search. We're the ones who will decide what's best fit for Cal, who the successful candidate is. But certainly they'll assist us with that. We will be having a search advisory committee that won't have anything to do with candidates, but that does have to do with what are the characteristics, what are the qualities, what are the skills and the experience and the expertise that we're looking for, because we certainly value that input from our community, because they're an important part of helping to make this person successful.
Ron Krejcik from the Chronicle. Sandy, you mentioned several other things, as you said, before football, but how much closer to the top of the list is football now than in the past, just given the financial realities of the debt and the stadium and all that? And I ask that in the context of Cal's always struggled, long before you or I were here, on how to balance academics and athletics and how good it wanted to be in sports.
Well, remember, when I was asked that question, it was the characteristics of our football coach that I was asked for. So certainly, football expertise is, all those things I mentioned are very important, and football expertise is kind of the given. Let's make no mistake, we have ambitious goals for Cal football. As an athletic program, as a university, Chancellor Bergeneau talks about comprehensive excellence. And our excellence, our contribution from an athletics department standpoint to that excellence is winning. And we have a broader definition of winning. It's wins in the win column. It's academic engagement. It's being great role models in our community. It's being fiscally responsible. But winning is what we intend to do in Cal football, and that's competing for a conference championship. That's competing for a national championship. That is being excellent at football in its broadest definition.
Josh? Hi, Josh Dubow, Associated Press. Can you say, what made you come to the realization that Jeff was not going to be the coach to get Cal, the program back to where he wanted it to be? Anything specific?
I certainly wanted the answer to be Jeff. But as I said before, I have that obligation to do what's right for Cal. And it's a matter of that I believe that we could turn around some of these worrisome trends competitively, academically, and ultimately my conclusion was that it wouldn't be it wouldn't be deep enough to take us to where we need to be for this community, for this university, to represent comprehensive excellence.
You mentioned in your statements some of that came when you met with Jeff today and the discussion were you went into that with having not made the decision? Were there things he could have said or things that would have changed this decision? Or
I informed Jeff of the decision this morning, so went into the meeting with that decision. But certainly, you evaluate over the course of the season. It was a difficult one for us, but I believe that it was the right thing to do, the objective thing to do, to wait for the conclusion of the season, while continuing to analyze, and then give Jeff a chance for us to have some conversations what would be the plan? How do we turn it around? We did that for a couple of days. And last night, after our last conversation, and after some time with Chancellor Bergeneau and Vice Chancellor Wilton, I came to that conclusion.
Simply put, Jeff Tedford owed 3 more years left on his contract. How do you pay for a new coach? How does that effort start?
Let me first say that, to be very clear, it will be no state funds, there will be no student fees, it will be entirely intercollegiate athletics self-generated revenue. Having said that, again, this decision was made primarily with our student athletes and their conditions for success in mind. But we have an ambitious plan to create the necessary revenues. And if we put our program, we put our student athletes, we provide them with those conditions for success, and we have a football program that is compelling on and off the field, then I believe that financial sustainability gets created.
John?
And have you arrived at a settlement with Jeff for the remaining years of his contract?
That's in the works right now.
In the works. And has his entire staff been let go, or has anyone been retained?
We have, well, ultimately, obviously, it will be up to the new head coach, but we have retained 5 of the assistant coaches for the interim period.
I didn't hear that.
We have retained 5 of the assistant coaches for the interim period.
Who would those assistants be?
Gould, Arroyo, Mahalchek, Ambrose, and Chandler.
And who's the last one?
Chandler.
Jim, did you have a question?
Yes, could you briefly characterize the opinions offered by Chancellor Bergeneau and the Vice Chancellor as well?
They're very similar to mine. Concerned about the direction, both academically and athletically. You know, I got the question before about how do you balance those? What is the balance here? And the balance here is that they're both really important. This is not a either or. You know, I talk about Cal athletics a lot, about athletics done right, and it's athletic success, it's academic achievement, it's community engagement, and it's fiscal responsibility. And it's all 4 of those every day, every year. It's not, we'll do 2 of these this year and we'll do 2 of those next year. The Chancellor shares that vision, those were his concerns as well.
How much money will be available for the new coach, or if you're at liberty to say?
I'm not quite sure how to answer that in terms of the calculation. Obviously, again, we have an ambitious plan to put Cal football in a successful position, which we believe will create financial sustainability, and we're committed to fielding a high-quality, highly successful football program. And right now, I'm entering into a search to go out and get the very best head football coach, the very best man available to Cal football.
Can you characterize the input of high-level donors in this process?
They were not part of the analysis in terms of where our football program was and what it would take for us to turn around. Have I been hearing from fans and season ticket holders and donors and university community? Of course I have. And they've been all over in terms of their opinions relative to where the program is and relative to Jeff's leadership. But in terms of the actual analysis and the decision, they were not involved. External stakeholders were not involved.
Sandy, you said there'd be no state funds at all in terms of paying off Jeff's contract. Is that also the case, I assume, with the new coach? Or
correct.
Not at all?
There are no state funds involved in Cal athletics in any of our operation in any way, shape, or form.
And sort of as a related question, how much urgency, for lack of a better word, is there financially because of the investments you guys have made in the stadium and the training facility and all that?
Certainly, we have financial challenges. There's no escaping that. But I'll go back to the beginning. This decision was made with our student athletes in mind and providing them conditions for success and creating success in our football program, and then those other things will follow.
Jonathan, we'll go back to Ryan.
Did you take the input on it, and so what was the?
As an athletic director, and obviously I have a team of other staff that support our football program on a daily basis. You can certainly get student athlete input without asking for it. You can discern it. But when I say that this was made with them in mind, it was made. And I said this to them this morning. I said, I had the unenviable task of deciding on your behalf, okay? And I had to decide with them in mind, thinking about them, thinking about what is best for creating conditions for success for them. So this was not a matter of them saying what they wanted or didn't want, but it was me thinking about analyzing and deciding what would provide those conditions for success.
What was their reaction?
They're disappointed. Jeff and his coaching staff have been their leaders. Most of them were recruited by somebody on the staff. It's what they've known. But I also challenged them about what's next, and I believe that they will respond. They love Cal. They love this institution, and in time, they will look forward to what's next. They need time to figure out their emotions about this. I would expect nothing less than them being very disappointed.
Go John Breach, then John. What did you say?
John Breach, CBS Sports. Have you set a timeline for the new hire? I mean, you guys do have that bye this week, so all the teams are still playing. Does that work to your advantage? Is there a timeline for the new hire?
As expeditiously as we possibly can. Timing is of the essence in all of this. Timing was critical related to the decision, and being fair to Jeff and to his staff, and what we needed to do if the decision was going to be to search for a new head coach. Obviously, a lot of folks are still playing this weekend. Some folks are still playing next weekend, so that we'll have to navigate that. But we will do this as quickly as we possibly can, but not sacrificing getting the right person to lead Cal football.
John?
That was my question.
Oh, that was the question.
Yeah,
Monty?
yeah, thank you.
Sandy, Jeff has had considerable turnover on his staff over the years, and he took a couple of really big hits this past year. How much of that is on him, and how much of that is systemic? It's because of the system, the way it's set up in terms of finances for systems.
Certainly continuity in coaching staffs is important. You ask any AD, you ask any head football coach, that'll be on their list. In terms of my or our accountability, that certainly is a place where we attempt to continue to analyze the competitive marketplace and stay competitive, and we will certainly commit to doing that. We've taken a look at where we are in the marketplace of entire pool of assistant coaches, and we're pretty good. We're not at the top, but we're certainly not anywhere near the bottom either.
When a school comes in and doubles the salary of one of your assistants to take it away, are you in any position to do anything about that, or is it just financial reality that you can't?
Well, I think as we're all aware, we provided what I felt was a pretty good competitive offer in the situation you're referring to, and ultimately we were not in a position and should not have been in a position to have matched that offer.
Is there a protocol for contacting coaches and their agents that are still playing? And along that line, have you received much input about interest out there in the competition?
This is a funny business that way, and there is a protocol about talking to head coaches, and it is before I will have a conversation with any head coach. I will have the permission of their athletic director. Or at minimum, I will have contacted their athletic director and sought permission. You don't typically get turned down. It might be, yes, you can talk to them, but after they're done this weekend, and we will honor that. We will absolutely honor that. So it's, and then the second part of your question was about interest. We've received great interest in a very short period of time today. Unfortunately, this is the part of this business that I do not care for at all. We received interest long before the job was even open, of which we did not respond to in any way, shape, or form.
And other schools I know have used headhunting firms in this sort of situation. I'm wondering, if you will do that. As a
Yes.
way in between. And secondly, head college football coach at the top level now has become a reasonably complicated, tough job. In looking at the resumes of people, what do you put at the top of the resume that you look at first? So those two questions.
The answer to the first question is yes. We have hired a search consultant, an executive search firm, to assist us with this search. And then, in reference to your own question, it's a complex. It has become a very complex job, so it's really difficult to put one thing at the top. But I think there are a number of things which I talked about in answering one of the previous questions. In terms of characteristics and qualities, and I wouldn't put football expertise at the top because of this institution. But again, you've got a set of characteristics that we have to meet all of them, and significant football, demonstrated football expertise and success is certainly on there, but it's integrity, it's team builder, character builder, staff builder, it's innovator, it's visionary.
You wouldn't put one at the top, though? I mean, you're making a hire and you've done your reference.
No, I'm not.
Speak for itself on that, but you wouldn't put one.
I would not put one at the top because I have to have them all.
Dan Greenspan, Fox Sports. In terms of the NFL, NFL head coaches, NFL assistants, how would that affect your timetable, and what's the process like for potentially interviewing them?
Yeah, the NFL piece gets a little bit more complicated because they are going deeper into the season. They don't have the same kinds of restrictions related to when you can contact and when you can't in terms of ownership and some of those things. That's up to each guy, I would think. So we'll, if there's an NFL guy that we think fits our criteria, we'll sort through that.
John, we'll come to Brian.
Yes, Sandy, this would be your first football hire here.
At Cal.
At Cal, yes. And how much, it's the most important hire an AD does typically in the school. How much pressure or responsibility do you feel goes into that for you?
It's a huge responsibility that I embrace on behalf of this institution. Football is incredibly important to us, not only as a department, but as a university, emotionally, financially. There is no other place on this campus that 65,000 people gather on any given Saturday afternoon or evening. It occupies a very, very important role and important place in this university. And so finding new leadership for that program is really terribly, terribly important, and we will be very serious and very diligent about hiring the right new leadership.
Right.
When did you personally reach the decision, and then what was the timeline moving forward?
Again, we set up a timeline of having an opportunity for Jeff and I to conclude the season, and then Jeff and I have an opportunity to talk on Sunday. We spoke again yesterday. We spoke with Chancellor Bergeneau and Vice Chancellor Wilton yesterday afternoon, and then I consulted with them again last evening and made the decision.
Was there a specific turning during the season when you started thinking that that next year was gradual, or was it something that you entered the season thinking, given the teams that you were?
Well, I certainly entered the season with high hopes and high expectations about where we were headed, And I know Jeff did, and I know our community did. I'm a body of work person, both from a career standpoint and time at Cal, as well as from a season-long perspective. So I don't, it's certainly where we were going, and then ultimately the 3 and 9 were concerning. But I don't think there was a point where I said this is irretrievable, because again we were going to conclude the season and then have the conversations, do the analysis, and reach a conclusion, which is what we did.
John?
Yes, Sandy, during the 2 days that you met with Jeff to discuss the program, is there anything he said about what the state of the program needs that you will now use as you look for a successor?
There were a lot of things that Jeff and I talked about, and I would say all of them are things that Jeff and I have continued to talk about throughout. One of the things that I really appreciate about Jeff's and my relationship was that we would always talk about how can we get better? What does the program need? We certainly strive to, from a resource standpoint, from a conditions for success standpoint, be in the proper market position. We've done that under Jeff's leadership, and we'll do that under new leadership as well.
Based on the caliber of inquiries we've had so far, the caliber of the candidates, how confident are you of being able to bring in a top-notch guy that can meet these characteristics that we've put forward?
This is a great job. It's been made better by Jeff Tedford. This is a very attractive job that is and will attract a number of folks, a number of candidates that will meet these criteria, and we'll have an opportunity to make a great choice.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much. We do have a couple players who will be